Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're jumping into something really fascinating, a kind of masterclass in influence, but pulled from a pretty unique source.
Yeah, it's based on these adult education courses that started way back in New York City around 1912.
Right, 1912. And the amazing thing is they didn't start out teaching human relations.
No, not at all. It was originally all about public speaking, but the people running them, they quickly figured out something important.
What was that?
Well, that professionals weren't really failing because they couldn't give a speech. It was more about, well, they called it the fine art of getting along with people. That's where the real struggle was.
Ah, okay, so they had to pivot.
Exactly. And what came out of that was, well, kind of groundbreaking for the time. It became this laboratory of human relationships, as they put it.
A laboratory. How so?
Because the students couldn't just learn the principles. They actually had to go out and test them in their jobs, their social lives, real world stuff.
So like applied behavioral science before that was even really a term?
Pretty much. So our mission today is to give you the shortcut. We've boiled it down to 3 core techniques for handling people straight from this, well, century of practical application.
Okay, let's dig in. Where do we start? Principle 1.
Principle 1. And this one sounds simple, but it's tough. It's don't criticize, condemn, or complain. We're calling it the futility of force.
Futility of force. Why futility?
Because fundamentally it doesn't work. The source material is really strong on this. It says like 99 times out of 100, people just do not criticize themselves. Doesn't matter how wrong they might actually be.
99 times out of 100. That seems high.
Well, think about the examples they used. They looked at some really notorious criminals. Gun Crowley, remember him? The killer in New York.
Vaguely, yeah. Cornered by police, wasn't he?
Right. And while the police are literally shooting into his apartment, what's he doing? He's writing a letter.
Writing a letter?
Yeah, justifying himself, saying things like, under my coat is a weary heart, but a kind one that would do nobody any harm, after killing a policeman.
Wow. That's quite the disconnect from reality.
Isn't it? And he wasn't alone. Al Capone saw himself as a kind of misunderstood public benefactor. Dutch Schultz, another gangster, same thing. They genuinely didn't see themselves as being in the wrong.
Okay, so that's the aha moment then, right?
Yeah.
If these guys, these really hardened criminals, refuse to blame themselves.
Exactly. What chance do you really have changing, say, a colleague's mind or maybe your kid's behavior just by criticizing them?
It just bounces off.
Or worse, criticism, it wounds that sense of importance, that pride everyone has. It makes people defensive instantly.
Generates resentment, not change.
Precisely. And it doesn't actually teach a better way. B.F. Skinner's work showed this pretty clearly. Rewarding good behavior works far better than punishing bad behavior.
Punishment just teaches people how to avoid getting caught, maybe.
Or it just builds resentment. It doesn't inspire someone to want to do the right thing.
Okay, but what about situations where criticism seems, well, necessary, like safety on a job site? You can't just ignore someone not wearing a hard hat.
Right, that's a great point. And the source material gives an example of exactly that. This safety coordinator, George B. Johnston.
What did he do?
Initially, he did what you'd expect. He went in, cited the regulations, condemned the workers for not wearing their hats. Standard procedure, right?
Yeah. Sounds familiar? How'd that work out?
Terribly. He got, eye roll, sullen compliance. The second he turned his back, hats came right off.
Okay. So classic punishment approach failed.
Totally. So he switched tactics, completely changed his approach. Instead of criticizing, he'd walk up pleasantly. He'd ask the workers, hey, are those hats uncomfortable? Do they not fit quite right?
Ah, so he started with empathy, almost.
Exactly. Then he'd gently remind them not about the rules, but about the purpose of the hat, that it was designed specifically to protect them from injury.
He appealed to their self-interest, their own safety.
Bingo. He stopped making it about his regulations and started making it about their well-being.
And the result?
Much better compliance. And crucially, cooperation instead of that resentment he was getting before.
That makes sense. You replace condemnation with, curiosity and concern.
And that leads us really nicely into the next couple of principles. Because they both tap into that underlying drive we mentioned, the ego, the need to feel important.
Right. This is section 2, the human hunger. What's principle 2?
Principle 2 is give honest and sincere appreciation.
Okay, appreciation, we all like that, but why is it so fundamental?
Because it feeds what the source calls the gnawing and unfaltering human hunger, which
The
is
desire to feel important.
exactly the desire for significance. It's described as like the key difference between humans and animals. It drives everything.
Can you give some examples?
Sure. Think history. Why did Lincoln, starting poor, study law so excessively? Why did Wren design incredible cathedrals? Why did Rockefeller fund hospitals?
To leave a mark, to be remembered, to feel significant.
Precisely. It's that deep, deep urge. It's so powerful, even, criminals feel it. Like Dillinger, the bank robber. When he was finally caught, he supposedly shouted, "I'm Dillinger."
Assorting his identity, his importance, even then.
Right. And if you can learn to satisfy this hunger in other people, well, that's the key to influence.
Like Charles Schwab, this deal guy.
Perfect example. Paid $1 million a year, back when that was an absolutely astronomical sum. And Schwab himself said it wasn't just for his knowledge of steel.
It was his people skills, right?
His ability to deal with people. He said, I consider my ability to arouse enthusiasm among my people the greatest asset I possess. And then he added the kicker.
Which was,
I never criticize anyone. I am anxious to praise, but loath to find fault.
wow, built an empire on praise, essentially.
On genuine appreciation. But, and this is a huge but, that the course is really hammered home. There's a massive difference between honest appreciation and, well, flattery.
That's a tricky line to walk, isn't it? How do you distinguish them? Flattery can sound nice.
It can. But the key difference is sincerity and motive. Flattery is usually insincere. It's often just telling people what you think they want to hear or what they already think about themselves. And there's usually a selfish reason behind it.
Trying to get something out of them.
Right. And people often see through it. Sincere appreciation, though, that comes from the heart. It's specific. It's unselfish. It recognizes real effort or a genuine quality.
So less, you're brilliant, and more, hey, I saw you stayed late to fix that report, and it made a huge difference in the meeting today. Thanks.
Exactly that. One is vague and potentially manipulative. The other is specific, earned, and focuses on their contribution. People crave that genuine recognition.
Almost as much as food or sleep, the source says.
That's the idea. And that craving, that desire, leads us straight into principle 3.
Which is?
Arouse in the other person an eager want.
Okay, arouse an eager want. What does that mean in practice?
It means shifting your entire focus. Stop thinking about what you want. Start thinking about what they want.
The fishing analogy comes to mind here.
Exactly. You bait the hook with what the fish wants, a worm, maybe. Not what you want, like strawberries and cream.
Right. Seems obvious, but we mess it up all the time.
Constantly. We talk about our needs, our goals, our problems. Harriet Overstreet put it perfectly. The only way on earth to influence other people is to talk about what they want and show them how to get it.
Talk about their wants. Show them how to get it.
That's the secret sauce.
Let's see it in action. The source had that example of the speaker trying to rent a hotel ballroom, right? And the hotel hit him with a massive rent increase.
Yeah, a 300% increase. Huge. Now, the typical reaction would be to argue, complain about the price, talk about your budget.
Which would be focusing on what he wants, a lower rent.
Exactly. But he didn't do that. He flipped it. He went to the manager and focused entirely on the manager's interests, the hotel's interests.
How'd he do that?
He basically laid out the pros and cons for the hotel. He didn't even mention his own budget.
Okay, so what were the cons for the hotel if they stuck to the 300% increase?
Well, first, they'd lose his business entirely. 0 rent instead of some rent. But more subtly, he pointed out they'd lose the prestige and the free advertising they got from having his, cultured lecture audiences coming through the lobby regularly.
So he framed it as losing status and visibility for the hotel, things the manager would care about.
Precisely. He made the manager argue against the hotel's own best interests, losing guaranteed income, losing positive exposure. The only pro for the hotel was maybe freeing up the ballroom for potentially more lucrative events, but he made the cons seem much bigger.
Clever. So what happened?
He walked away with only a 50% increase, not 300%, because he made it about what the manager wanted to gain or avoid losing.
That's a powerful shift. And it works on a smaller scale, too, like with family. There was a story about a kid in kindergarten.
Right, Stan Novak's son, Tim. Little Tim did not want to go to kindergarten. Flat out refused.
So Stan didn't threaten him or force him?
Nope. He and his wife used Principle 3. They focused on arousing an eager want in Tim.
How? What did Tim want?
Well, they figured out what Tim might find exciting about kindergarten. things like finger painting, songs, making new friends. So they started talking excitedly about all the fun things he could do there.
Making it sound like a privilege, not a chore.
Exactly. They even made a game of it, like, oh, you can't learn how to finger paint unless you go to kindergarten first. They built up the desire.
And did it work?
Like a charm. The story goes, Tim got so excited about the finger painting and everything else, he actually fell asleep waiting by the front door the night before, desperate not to be late.
Incredible. He went from refusing to being eager, all by focusing on his wants.
That's the power of it. Okay, so we have the 3 big principles. Now let's maybe wrap up with 3 really practical techniques that help put these into action daily. Quick wins, almost.
Great. Tactical stuff. What's technique 1?
Remember names. Sounds simple, maybe even a bit trivial.
Like basic courtesy.
It's more than that. The source is really emphatic. A person's name. It's the sweetest and most important sound to them. It represents their identity. It's uniquely theirs.
Wholly and completely owned by the person and nobody else. I remember that line.
Exactly. And successful people understood this. Jim Farley, he became Postmaster General, a huge political operator. He apparently knew 50,000 people by their first name.
50,000? How is that even possible?
He worked at it. He saw it as a fundamental tool for connection. It showed people he saw them as individuals.
And there's that story about the customer, Nicodemus Papadoulos.
Oh, yeah. Powerful story. Everyone just called him Nick.
Fancy.
Right. But this one salesman took the effort to learn and use his full proper name.
Good afternoon, Mr. Nicodemus Papadoulos.
Right. And the impact. The guy was apparently moved to tears just by hearing his full name used respectfully. It showed genuine recognition.
Wow. Okay, so names matter. A lot. Technique 2.
Be a good listener. Again, seems obvious, but how often do we really do it?
We're usually just waiting for our turn to talk.
Exactly. But truly, listening, giving someone your undivided attention is maybe the highest compliment you can pay them.
Yeah.
It directly feeds that need to feel important we talked about.
There was that anecdote about the speaker at a dinner party. Listen to a botanist for hours.
Right. The speaker barely said anything. Just listened intently while this botanist went on and on about, plants and research.
And the punchline.
At the end of the night, the botanist told the host that the speaker was a most interesting conversationalist.
Even though he hardly spoke.
Because he made the botanist feel heard, feel important. It's about active listening. Like Dr. Eliot's technique was mentioned.
How did he listen?
Sitting upright, focused, apparently hearing with his eyes as well as his ears, just fully present.
That kind of attention is rare.
Yeah.
And powerful.
Incredibly. And it's also your best tool when dealing with someone who's angry or complaining, a difficult customer.
Don't jump in to argue or defend.
No. Let them vent. Let them spew the poison out, as the source puts it. Just listen patiently, acknowledge their feelings. Often that's half the battle. They just want to be heard.
Okay, makes sense. Names, listening. What's technique 3?
This one ties back nicely to principle 1. It's about avoiding arguments and, crucially, admitting fault quickly.
Avoiding arguments.
Yeah.
But disagreements happen.
They do. But the point is, you can't win an argument in a way that truly works long term. Think about it. If you demolish someone's point, make them look foolish.
They might concede, but they'll resent you for it.
Exactly. You've hurt their pride. That old saying holds. A man convinced against his will is of the same opinion still. You haven't really changed their mind. Just silence them.
Lincoln understood this, didn't he, with that letter to General Meade after Gettysburg?
Perfect example. Lincoln was furious, absolutely livid. He wrote this scathing letter, tearing into Meade for letting Lee escape.
But he never sent it.
Never sent it. Why? Because he realized it would accomplish nothing positive. It would just make Meade defensive, maybe even prompt him to resign. It would be, futile. Another example of avoiding criticism.
So if arguing is futile, what's the alternative when you're actually in the wrong?
That's the second part. Admit your mistakes and do it quickly, emphatically, and upfront.
Don't wait to be called out. Beat them to the punch.
Precisely. It completely disarms the other person. They were ready for a fight, ready to criticize you, and suddenly you're agreeing with them. More than agreeing, you're criticizing yourself.
Takes all the wind out of their sails.
Totally. The example was the man walking his dog in the park without a leash.
And a policeman on horseback spots him.
Right. Instead of making excuses, the guy immediately says something like, "Officer, you've called me red-handed. I'm guilty. No excuses."
He owned it completely.
Yeah. And what happened, the officer, whose sense of importance and authority was just validated instantly, softened completely.
Didn't give him a ticket.
No. He basically said, "Oh, well, little dog like that probably won't hurt anyone," and just told him to run the dog somewhere else where he couldn't see him. The self-criticism turned a confrontation into, like, a moment of leniency.
Amazing what admitting fault can do. Okay, so let's recap those fundamentals real quick.
Sure. Principle 1, don't criticize, condemn, or complain.
Principle 2, give honest and sincere appreciation.
And Principle 3, arouse in the other person an eager want. Focus on their needs.
And the techniques supporting these.
Remember names. Be a truly good listener. And avoid arguments. Admit fault quickly.
You know, when you lay it all out, it sounds profoundly simple in a way.
It is, isn't it? And what's really striking is that these principles, worked out in that New York laboratory over a century ago, they basically echo something much, much older.
What's that?
The Golden Rule. It boils down to that, really. Do unto others as you would have others do unto you. It's been taught for thousands of years.
So these techniques are just practical ways to actually live the Golden Rule in our interactions.
That's a great way to put it. It's applied empathy, applied respect.
So as we wrap up, maybe the challenge for you, the listener, is to think about that rule today. The source material ends with a really powerful thought, a kind of call to action.
Yeah, it's quite moving. "I shall pass this way but once. Any good, therefore, that I can do, or any kindness that I can show to any human being, let me do it now. Let me not defer nor neglect it, for I shall not pass this way again."
A reminder to apply these principles of kindness, appreciation, and understanding now, not later, because we only get one shot at each interaction.
Exactly. Make it count.